with it just being the day before Thanksgiving, I'm sure you've got a lot of things on your plate. So we just really want to express our gratitude for all of you taking the time to be here with us today. And really, the spirit of gratitude is why we're here today. It's in the spirit of giving back that we would love to be able to invite you into and introduce you to the ICF Global Initiative called Ignite. Our chapter's vision has always been to create an environment where we can all connect, contribute, and thrive. And today, we'd like to invite you to join us into something bigger, something that will allow us to grow not only as coaches, but as human beings, and also allow us to help change our world through coaching. Today is about the future, and it's about the future that we are going to be able to define together. Let's determine together the world that we want to create, and in that, commit to helping to build that world. Together, we will not only fulfill the vision, but we'll also have an impact and help create a legacy of opportunities for others. Tracy Kreiss has offered just so courageously. She is a beautiful leader who has offered to step into this role. Not only is she an executive coach and life coach at Transition Muse, but she's also passionate about helping people and supporting people through transition to help them align with their authentic selves and create that deeper purpose and heartfelt desires. And she brings that creativity and that heartfelt passion into what she's going to walk us through today. She's stepped forward to help lead us in this important work, and I couldn't be more excited to really introduce all of you to Tracy, and I'll let her take over from here. Let's give her a round of applause.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you, Laurie, for that beautiful introduction. I really appreciate it. I wanted to also thank the board for just welcoming me wanting to participate and expand on what the foundation's doing and bringing it to our chapter. And so I really appreciate that opportunity. And I wanted to start by talking about why I got involved. I just joined ICF this year, this chapter, and I started looking at the foundation's website because I didn't know that much about it. And that's when I learned about Ignite, and that it was tied to focusing on supporting organizations that were in alignment with these 2030, meaning the year 2030, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which are huge Earth planetary changing goals. And what appealed to me is that at heart, I want to change the world. I want to have a big impact. And I have never been able to find an outlet for that. I mean, I've found outlets to serve, but nothing that resonated with me this way and that felt so powerful. So it truly did ignite me. It just lit me up. The idea of being able to affect the world at this level was truly exciting for me. And also, I have two kids. I have a 21-year-old and a 22-year-old, and they are hearing so many negative messages through social media, etc., about the state of a society, about the state of the planet. And especially for my daughter, who's a very empathetic person and absorbs a lot of the emotional things that are happening in the world, I'm sensing hopelessness, I'm sensing powerlessness, I'm sensing anger from my children about the state of the world today. And I'm realizing that I need to be a role model to them in terms of working positively for change, that change is possible, that we can turn around a lot of the problems that we have in this world today if we just step forward. And what I love is that the foundation has given us a structure to do that. We don't have to figure it out. And then finally, I truly believe that there is magic in collaboration. There is so much knowledge and talent and energy among us. This is an amazing opportunity to learn from each other. And this time it's not in the format of a workshop or a training or a webinar. This is in the format of practical application and a real life project that we would be doing together. So I know that we can accomplish so much more together than any one of us can do alone. That's why I'm so passionate about sharing this opportunity with all of you and hoping that you will join us in how we move forward and defining how we move forward as well. So with that, just to give you a sense of what the foundation is, its mission is to accelerate and amplify social system change through coaching. And they do this primarily three ways: creating frameworks for pro bono coaching, curating research so that they can show the multiplying effects of coaching on social progress that we can use to show organizations and the world the value of coaching. And they also do provide scholarships to coaches of diverse populations so that they can continue their personal and professional growth. Now I want to show you a short 3.5-minute video. I found this on the foundation website, and it's a wonderful explanation of the Ignite initiative. So I'll play that now.
The International Coach Federation Foundation, the ICF Foundation. We live in a time of exceptional global challenge and opportunity. How will we work together as coaches for a better future? As the ICF Foundation, we envision the greatest possible contribution of coaching to a thriving society. As coaches, we have an urgent and essential role to play at this critical moment in history. In areas from education to environment, coaching relationships help to bridge the gap between what is seen as possible under current scenarios and what is needed to achieve the thriving society. Our foundation mission is to connect and equip professional coaches and organizations to accelerate and amplify impact on social progress through coaching. We choose to partner for global impact, but how will we focus all our efforts? The 17 United Nations Global Goals focus on a thriving society and flourishing of nature and represent the most ambitious effort in human history. In each of 193 countries signed up to the goals, the results will shape life conditions for generations to come. Delivering the goals is a joint project for humanity in the 21st century, where our global coaching community can be a force of nature, helping to change the course of history. The ICF itself has more than 32,000 members in 148 countries and a growing network of country and local chapters. The ICF Foundation works in partnership with pioneering chapters and coaches to bring the power of coaching to delivering the global goals through the Ignite initiative. Initially focused on goal number 4, education, Ignite connects coaches and partner organizations and equips each with the tools to work together for greater impact. ICF coaches are working with leaders including individual educators, small nonprofits, and global institutions. Ignite projects are providing coaching for the greater good, demonstrating that coaching works by building capacity, accelerating and amplifying results. We envision a future where coaching is built into projects to achieve each and all of the 17 global goals because it makes sense. Ignite offers the opportunity for coaches to work together, make a difference, expand the boundaries of coaching in the world, and to extend the depth and breadth of their experience. As momentum grows, we imagine that through the leadership of coaches and partner organizations, billions of dollars of social progress and international development project funding will include coaching services as a recognized accelerator and amplifier for social change. Join us as we work together to ignite social progress. This video results from collaboration across 4 continents with contributions from ICF Foundation Board, ambassadors and coaches. Technical services and sponsorship were provided by Kreiss International.
So I know that sounded quite elaborate. And what I wanted to just share with you is how simple and how simply well they've distilled the process for us to follow. So just to give you a quick overview of what a project would look like. First, we need to decide on a partner organization who has a mission that's aligned with a United Nations Sustainable Development Goal. Once we've found that organization, we are doing now the recruiting of coaches within our own chapter who can be the coaches in this process to the leadership of the organization. And finally, a project can be as small as one coach coaching one leader in an organization for at least 6 sessions over a couple of months, or a maximum of as many coaches to fit the need for as many leaders within an organization, but only for a maximum of 10 sessions and within the parameter of 6 months. And then finally, we submit the project data that we collect within that organization to the ICF Foundation so that they can roll it up into their numbers. So what I want to share now is just to let you know what else support they provide is on their website, which I will provide at the end of the session, is the resource suite of tools that exist for us as coaches to use in the Ignite project or initiative. Everything from the partner introduction letter to data collection tools. So there's a myriad of support available to us to move forward. We don't have to reinvent anything. And just to give you a little background then, Ignite launched in 2017. So their initiative focusing on education specifically within the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals is new. And throughout 2018 and 2019, more than 1,850 hours of professional coaching were donated through ICF coaches on organizations focused on education. So here is one page of the social impact report from that Ignite initiative. And as you can see, coaches from all over the world participated. 46 ICF chapters partnered with 80 educational organizations, and they coached 410 leaders. 79% of those leaders had never been coached before. So the idea of expanding the knowledge of the power of coaching throughout the world is an amazing opportunity that we have with working in the Ignite initiative through the foundation that is curating this kind of research and measurements to show the impact of coaching on social progress. And in terms of what was measured, here are some of the things that we would be collecting in our own Ignite project. So in this 2018-2019 education initiative, 76% of the recipients said the ripple effect of their gains from coaching impacted operational efficiency, and 70% said employee engagement was impacted. 89% affirmed that coaching contributed to their success. These were the individual recipients. 97% of them were motivated to act on what they learned from their coaching, and 96% would recommend coaching to others. So I'm curious at this stage, what stands out for you here? And that's just an open question to anybody.
Sounds like there's a tremendous opportunity for impact and word of mouth for the good of coaching all over the world to be expanded here.
It's a little mind-blowing, isn't it? What kind of impact we can make. Thank you, Colleen. Well, at this time, I'd like to get everyone kind of thinking about what is really exciting for you here. What's the opportunity? What gets you passionate about the Ignite initiative? And then what questions you have, because we want to move forward, but we want to tailor this to, to you, to your expectations, and to whatever questions you have. So Kim, I'll ask you to go ahead and break us out. And what I'd like you to do when you get into your group is assign a timekeeper. We'll plan on taking about 2 minutes a person to answer these 2 questions, and also assign a recorder who could share the high points from your discussion with the community when we come back.
Great. Tracy, I'm going to hit enter so people can see these in the chat box.
Oh, yeah. Do that? Because I can copy and paste them into the chat.
Yeah, that's good.
Good there.
So it's going to be 10 minutes, right, in the breakout groups. We've got people organized into breakouts. And we will give you some prompts at the halfway point. Any questions for Tracy about the breakout groups? Okay. I know this group can talk in breakouts.
Where, I don't think I'm able to put them into the chat. Let's see.
Well, for anybody who can open your chat, there's some questions in there. What excites you about Ignite, and what questions do you have?
I got them. Okay.
Yeah, because sometimes when you're watching a presentation, the chat goes away, but you can refer to those even in your breakout groups.
Yeah, I got them in there. Okay.
Yay, that looks beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's go to it. We have some fantastic groups broken out here, and we'll see you in 10 minutes. And if you need anything, just put your hand up. Yeah, so when you get those little green squares that say return, if you don't click on it right away, you have a minute. So 2 of our groups have not, now they're out of time. They'll all be coming back. All right, that's everybody. So over to Tracy.
Okay. Well, I would love to hear from whoever was your recorder, some of the high points of your conversation in terms of, what's getting you excited and what questions you might have. Who would like to go first?
Tracy, I can go first.
Okay, thank you, Laurie.
You bet. In our group, we really talked about, I mean, I had Sarah and Christina in my group with me, and all of us are very, very excited about the possibilities of working with the Ignite program. I think some of the things that really came out that excited people was this opportunity to be in on something that's creating magic that really does help create sort of that legacy for coaching in a space that's really, really needed. And it's interesting because the questions that were coming up was really how do we and when do we get started? So the excitement level in our group was really phenomenal.
Okay. And I know in terms of getting started, for those of you who do have that question, I mean, we are planning on holding a chapter kickoff meeting in January to just start talking about, okay, where do we start? Where do we begin? Who do we reach out to? Who wants to coach? So we're planning on getting started right away. Thanks, Laurie.
I'll go next.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, I was in a group with Angela and Ludmilla, and we are excited about bringing more positivity into the world, helping, with well-being, and through that contribution, also it being fulfilling and improving our own well-being as coaches to be able to make a contribution like that. There's a lot of excitement around it, and some of the questions. One of the things is the ability to support leaders who are doing something big in the world and interacting with a lot of other people. So having sort of that ripple effect of we're coaching one person, but it's actually the impact of it is going a lot further. And so having an opportunity to do something like that in a space that is supporting a cause that we all are really support, right? And is meaningful. That's the word I was looking for, is really meaningful. And some of the questions that came up was, one of us said, we don't know what we don't know, so we're not sure what questions to ask. But there was also a question about, what if you're not credentialed? Can you join in later? Is there any sort of role or way of supporting this initiative if you don't yet have your credential? If you're a newer coach, haven't quite got your hours, that sort of thing. And I was also wondering what organization will be chosen or when that will happen. Will it be local? And how long will the program be? Like, how long will we be coaching? Frequency, different things like that. Time zone, like if they're not local, is time zone going to be a challenge for setting up coaching sessions, that sort of thing? So just logistical kind of things that came
Right.
up.
Thanks.
Tracy,
Did I miss anything,
Can I just add the
Camilla?
question about the where or who, the
Mhm.
organization? Sorry, go ahead, Tina. Any other questions?
No, I was just checking in with my team to see if I forgot anything. I think we're good.
So what
Go
we're
ahead, Laurie.
hoping is in your next breakout session, you know, who do you see us being able to work with is going to be one of the questions. And what we're really hoping is that we really have the opportunity to brainstorm today about what would have the biggest impact. And then when we come together, kind of drill that and narrow it down. And how do we make the impact in our own backyards first, right? How do we make the local impact with Sacramento, perhaps? What are the organizations that we could be working with that will have the most impact in, that will create that ripple effect from going outwards? So I'll stop there and then I'll let Tracy answer the credentialing question.
Yes, they actually had more difficult standards last year, and they've relaxed them slightly. So they do want credentialed coaches, so ACC and above. Before, they required at least one full round of certification as an ACC before you could participate as a coach. But now, just having the credential, you can participate as a coach. I believe that we can find roles for people who aren't certified yet to participate. It may not be directly through the coaching the leaders within the organization, but there are several, project management, administrative things that do need to take place throughout the process that we would definitely need support with. Thanks, Tina. Who'd like to go next?
Oh, I want to say, Tracy, one of the things that I'm super excited about is that we have someone other than a board member taking this on, because one of the reasons why we've been wanting to do something with this for a while, but not having the bandwidth because we have other things we're responsible for. So thank you so much for stepping up.
You're welcome. The timing, everything flowed. The timing worked. I learned about it at the right time. We're starting a new year. It's flowing. I feel the magic happening.
I can go now if you
Okay,
like.
Colleen, thank you.
Sure. I was in a group with Kristen and Malia, and we got really excited. We talked a lot about two areas in particular, and one was about social change, and it started out with a suggestion from Kristen about a conversation she'd had with Laurie at the kind of the beginning of the pandemic about how we could help people really change this discussion around privilege and center it to strengths, kind of shifting that dynamic and how we can really help change how leadership models look at that and bring that into other organizations during this time where we're so focused on that, that gap and how we can impact that for good. And the other piece was also brought up by you at the very beginning, Tracy, that kind of sparked something in me, particularly having so many children of that same age group that you spoke of that you have, and our group being really excited about that age group, the generation, and the ability to maybe use this Ignite program to engage that younger generation from the bottom up. A lot of times we enter an organization from the leadership side and want them to embrace coaching, and then they realize the power and push it down. But what about this age group of students and the very active younger generation who don't have that necessarily that leadership power in many organizations yet? How can we cultivate that and really embrace that and bring that forward when they are so focused on so many of these different areas? So those were the two things that we really talked about. And one kind of last really powerful statement that came out from our group is how do we really help, especially that younger generation or other groups of less privilege, feel validated, like give them the permission to step up and know that this is the time for their voice to be heard.
Wow. That's amazing, Colleen. That was an amazing discussion. And I see us starting with our Ignite project, which the parameter is for an Ignite project to coach the leaders within an organization. But as we reach our tendrils out to these organizations that we are coaching and learning about who they're connected with and who their constituents are, there's no reason that we as a chapter can't continue to be making strides in these areas with the youth and with people along the path in that organization or that are being served by that organization. So, I mean, if we can keep our energy up around it and work together, that is certainly possible.
And our questions were pretty similar to what others have already brought up, and kind of where to start, how we discern, and what the steps are, how many different types of projects we want to take on, and how we're going to decide that. But it sounds like that's what we're going to do next. So thanks.
I love how people are thinking multi-project wise, because we all have different passions, you know, and we all have different connections to many, many different areas that, you know, one or another of the goals hit. And so the potential here is pretty great in terms of what we can accomplish. And just so you know, there is no plan in place yet. We are creating the plan. You know, with our kickoff meeting in January, that's when we start that process of figuring out who do we want to serve and how do we want to structure it and who's going to be involved. Who else can share with us?
I can go next.
Thanks, Kathleen.
I was in a group with Michelle and Amy, and like everybody else, we are excited about this opportunity. Sounds like a great opportunity. Some of the questions have already been talked about by some of the other groups. One that wasn't is whether it's just leaders or as we move into more teams and group coaching, if that's also an opportunity with Ignite. And then I think somebody else already talked about geography and being able to stay within the Sacramento area. But yeah, lots of excitement, and glad to hear that the kickoff is in January. So we're looking forward to moving forward with this. It sounds like fun.
That's awesome. Thanks, Kathleen. Initially, I think the Ignite program is structured to one-on-one coaching with each leader within the organization. And again, who knows what we want to spin that into then as a chapter serving an organization, if we want to continue to make opportunities available for people who want to do pro bono coaching to continue to work within those organizations in different ways, whether it be team coaching or group coaching or whatever. We don't even know what opportunities lie there yet. So I think at this point, we're open to that. Who else haven't we heard from?
I'm happy to share. So I was in a group with Sue-Ann and Tracy, and a lot of the things that we discussed are coming up. One of the things that I said I was most excited about is really that 70% number that they got of all those people who had never been coached before. I think that there's a huge potential there to really do good coaching for people who have never experienced coaching before, and for that to have a ripple effect in terms of how they start valuing that and share that. And especially in the nonprofit world, because I worked in an international development organization for a long time. And even when I worked for UC Davis, we were very engaged with a lot of foundations and nonprofits. And those kinds of organizations, community building is built into their DNA. They share what works. And so I think that's really exciting to me. And then we were just starting to already. Sue Ann has a lot of experience actually coaching nonprofits, and she and I know some of the same kinds of organizations. And so we just started sort of thinking about, like, do we want to just pick one organization, one really large organization? Do we want to can we pick an organization that, like Sierra Health, who's funded by the California Foundation, who funds a bunch of other little programs? Like there's a huge ripple effect, and they're multi-sector. So they do education, they do poverty alleviation, they do housing, they do leadership development, and they're doing it mostly in the highest need areas of our region, with the lowest served communities. There's a huge amount of potential among those people to be leaders. They have so much knowledge, and they're very rarely given the opportunity beyond their community to share that knowledge and to share their leadership. And so in order, is what excites me, is the idea of working with organizations that are already serving people who have huge need and huge potential, and figuring out a way to leverage that to make a really big impact. But our region for sure has a lot of need, and a lot of people who are incredible community organizers and leaders. And I know personally that most of them have never had coaching. They don't even really know kind of what is this coaching thing. They don't know that they are doing a lot of coaching. So that's another opportunity to help them understand what are the best practices as well. So there's a lot there. So that's kind of where we were starting to go.
Oh, that's fantastic. And the potential here is huge. And I'm so excited to already hear about that. We have connections within our own backyard to start this process. Did we hear from everyone? Okay, I'm going to move on. And so here are the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And, you know, I just wanted you to take I'll review them quickly, and we'll look at them one more time before we go out and brainstorm, you know, who else we might serve. Number 1, no poverty. 2, 0 hunger. 3, good health and well-being. 4, quality education. 5, gender equality. 6, clean water and sanitation. 7, affordable and clean energy. 8, decent work and economic growth. 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure. 10, reduced inequalities. 11, sustainable cities and communities. 12, responsible consumption and production. 13, climate action. 14, life below water. 15, life on land. 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. And 17, partnerships for the goals. And that 17 really focuses on international partnerships, working together towards these goals. And so one thing, you know, that Laurie and I were talking about earlier was that depending on what organizations we know about, there's a chance to hit more than one of these goals with one project, which would be exciting. You know, for instance, quality education and reduced inequalities could be hit together if we're working with an underserved population. So that's another kind of exciting thing that we're able to do as well. And Laurie, also, do you want to talk a little bit about the idea of documenting our Ignite project and what that could mean for us?
Sure. So this is just, it's sort of really high level now, because obviously we wanted to be able to involve all of you members in what the approach to this would be. But we may have the opportunity to have the project or projects documented. And when we say documented, it would be from a documentary series to where we're now making that ripple effect, making a difference. And we're also allowing others to sort of be able to see and share in the process. How did we accomplish this? What was it like when we accomplished it? What were the steps that we took? What were the reactions? What was the, and of course, this would have to be built into the program. And also, given the green light with whoever we decide to work with. So, but there is an opportunity for us to be able to do that so that we're sharing this on a bigger and global scale. Even though we may be working in a smaller environment and really, working with the people that are in our Sacramento area, we have the opportunity to perhaps share that on a bigger scale.
And what I think is so wonderful about that, I mean, it's amazing to be able to share that, but just from a personal perspective, me in the chapter, if I wasn't part of the Ignite project or wasn't able to be, I could see this documentation or whatever, however it looks, and really understand what it takes. Like, how do you get invited to work with an organization? How do you, sell them on the value of coaching? And how do you describe the process and get their buy-in for sharing their numbers with you in terms of how they grew and improved and optimized? And so that to me is extremely valuable because I don't have a lot of experience working with organizations at that level. And I don't know how many of us do here, but I would love to get that experience. And if I can't be a part of it, then also still be able to benefit from it if it was documented. So I thought that was really exciting. Okay, I want to share a quote with you that I thought was very powerful in terms of what's possible. The need for what coaching offers is everywhere and in every institution, every corporation, every school, and every social structure. Coaches are the midwives at the birth of a new social order, one in which compassion for all people and caring for all nature and our only home form the core theme. What more rewarding challenge could there be? And that's a quote from Sir John Whitmore, who was a pioneer in the executive coaching industry. So I found that extremely inspirational when it comes to the Ignite process and the potential that we have to serve the world. And so I'm going to play a short video now that's going to review all the Sustainable Development Goals one more time. And as you watch it, I just want you to think about, which goals resonate most strongly with you and what organizations you might already have connections to in terms of how we might work and support organizations in Sacramento or within our vicinity. Okay, so we're going to take a few minutes here to capitalize on some of the ideas that have already come up, but also hopefully some new ideas have been sparked for you in terms of where else we can serve. So we'll take another 8 minutes or so, about 2 minutes a person in these breakout groups. And I'll put these questions in the chat with all the sustainable development goals so that you can kind of talk together about how you see yourself being involved and what organizations that you might have connections to that we can, start testing the waters and see what's possible. So Kim, I will put those in the chat and have us go into great. Let me get them from the chat real quick.
Right. Yeah, I'm just pausing because we want them. As soon as they're in the chat, I'll put you in your breakouts.
Okay.
Just remember to open the chat box when you're in your breakouts.
Okay, they're in.
Great, thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and invite people to some open rooms, and we'll see you in 8 minutes.
Okay, thanks, Kim.
Mm-hmm. Okay, gonna take a little break, Tracy? Let's see, I just want to be sure. Yes, everybody's got somebody with them. Taking a little break, Colleen? So you're on mute. There we
Yes. I'm taking a break because I'm realizing this is not something I'm going to be involved with.
go.
And, my partner in the previous chat was like me, came as a curiosity just to learn about it, to know what it was about, what it entailed, And we were both exactly on the same wavelength that this was not the time right now for us to get involved with something that big. So I would not have been a good partner in the next breakout room. So
Good.
I actually didn't get sent to a breakout room, but that's okay.
Yeah, I invited you to one. You show is not joining, so I don't know what happened. Maybe because you were.
I don't know. I was screwing around with my view here, and maybe I missed the going or something. That's okay.
It's probably not too late if you want to go. We're only about 30 seconds in. You were with Angela and Kathleen Mitchell.
That's okay.
Let's see if it lets me re-invite you. Well, I don't see the breakout rooms. I'm pretty generic. Let's see. Move to. I can, if I move you, it might invite you to a new room. But that's odd. You didn't get an invite, huh?
I didn't see it, but I was trying to get. I was playing with my screen at the time, and I don't know. The invite didn't stay up for me, so I didn't see anything I could click on.
Yeah, breakout rooms are very interesting. I know I'm going to want to support my kids' school because I have young kids, 12 and 13, and this Waldorf school is really amazing, where they find a way to accept almost anybody who applies, whether they can pay the tuition or not, through fundraising at the school. And their board just turned over like crazy, and they've got new, very junior people as like chairman of the school board and in all of those roles, vice chairman. They're just new leaders, and they're running this school.
Is it a chapter school or a charter school or a private school?
It's a private school, and Waldorf education has a very specific theory of human development that's very integral. Ooh. So, yeah. So for instance, my children, when they learn history, they do puppetry on history, they do plays on history, they do pictures, and they read, and they actually create their own textbooks.
I love
So
it.
they'll write about Roman history, and at the end of each year, I get a textbook that they've written about what they've learned. So they try to make it really highly engaging. It's really special.
Yeah, it's a great, great program. Yeah.
It sounds like, so then the children are really given a choice in how they learn, which, increases motivation.
Mhm. And they
Yeah.
stay with the same teacher grades 1 through 8. So there's pros and cons to that, but they do that because there's a big up ramp every time you change teachers. And so I have one of my sons is a kind of a trauma survivor from a past family life. We adopted him, and he's had the same teacher now every year, which has been great. They've really developed a very deep bond, and she loves him and she knows all about him. So I just love the Waldorf program. So that's why I got all lit up today about what you're doing. Not that I wasn't lit up before, but I'm sure we can have as many small, I'm going to wait until January, but I bet you there could be small projects and big projects that all get combined.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's exciting about it, because if you really know that you want to serve your kid's school, you can do that. It doesn't have to be a whole chapter project. It's still an Ignite initiative for, a handful of coaches or even one coach to go in.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah.
that's
And
exciting.
then one thing that we were wondering with the person I was with is if you did not want to be all in, is there room for someone who will not be able to be all in? And what kind of role, maybe in the background, the back office or admin, or, that kind of thing.
Mhm. Yeah, but well, that's definitely a possibility. Those roles exist.
Yeah, because you're going to need a lot of support with something like this at all levels, So especially if we have many different programs together going at the same time.
Some of the responsibilities that they outline just to think about that were on the Ignite webpage was, of course, project management, a liaison with the partner organization, a liaison with coaches and how they communicate with coachees or helping communicate with the coachees, or a liaison just with the coaches between the chapter and the coaches,
Oh, yeah,
communicating
nice.
next steps, being in step with each other and, having a uniform way of addressing how we're each moving forward and dealing with our coachees. And then, of course, administrative support for the many projects or each project, ensuring deadlines are met, things like that, follow up. So, but those still require a commitment, throughout the project. You may not be a face, working directly with an organization, but the commitment is still going to need to be there throughout throughout the project.
Sure. But it's different than finding the organization, putting it together, being one of the coaches, that kind of really outward kind of role. So that would be more back end. Yeah.
Background. Yeah, I think that's really brings up a good point. Maybe people do want to be involved, but not be the face of it. As you mentioned.
Yeah. Nice. Tracy, thank you so much for stepping up there. That's very, very sweet, because as Tina was saying, we've been wanting to do that for 2 years, but we're too buried to attempt it, and to have you suddenly you come on your white horse and like, hey, here I am and I'm ready to rock and roll.
Isn't that
It's like,
because it doesn't feel that way to me. To me, it feels like, oh my gosh, this is an amazing opportunity that I have never had before to participate in something that gets me so excited and feeds my desire to really serve in a big way. I mean, it's just, I've been looking for that type of excitement and path. And plus the fact that the foundation has already figured it out, this isn't the first time. So they've got best practices even to share with us throughout this process. It really couldn't be any easier in terms of if you're starting, new projects are hard, of course, but we're definitely set up for success.
Right.
With everything.
And they want you to succeed for sure. So they're gonna, and as far as you, have you had a leadership role in the sense of being the hub of something? I mean, you were looking for something, you just said you're looking for something, but have you been the hub?
Yeah, actually, I used to be a director of education and credentialing for a professional association, and most of the education that I created in the credentialing programs and the continuing education was me recruiting subject matter experts for everything that we created and keeping them on task with every project, with building the curriculum.
Right. So that's where you bring your genius, you bring your absolute knowledge and experience of that.
Well, I would love to hear anything that came up for you in terms of how you see yourself being involved, or what organizations you might be connected to that we can start considering. Who would like to go first?
I can share from our group from a more basic place that we really felt like we wanted to be involved through the brainstorming, coaching, support in any ways that we possibly can, depending on where we land with what it is that our chapter chooses to support. And that was kind of our fundamental question before what do we care about collectively as a group to move forward on first? That would be an important thing to discuss in January, and to really have the synergy around that before maybe moving forward. And, very important to have different connections, but to make sure that we're really connected to that source and cause of where we're directing our energy and our resources would be important. And that some of the things that were locally important had to do with a lot of many of the different goals, and the key being a lot of inequities was the key thing that we thought would be something from a local level to begin with. So that was myself and Donna and Malia that were around those answers.
Great points, Colleen. Thank you. And, I just want you guys to know that there's no directive here. It's truly us coming together and brainstorming what's possible and taking what we know and deciding from there, where can we have the greatest impact that we feel passionate about. And so that's how we'll move forward, definitely as a community. Who else would like to share?
I can go.
Thanks, Kathleen.
It was Angela and I, and we're both excited about this program. I personally I couldn't think of any organizations that I'm associated with to work with. But one thing Angela and I were talking about was, what size organization are we looking at? She's got connections to smaller organizations, like she mentioned Poudre Creek Council, which is related to UC Davis, I believe. And then she's also got connections with 100 Women Who Care in Yolo County, which works with, and Angela, please step in if I'm not saying this correctly, but works with other organizations or nonprofits and helping them. So it's like a very connected group of possibilities there. But yeah, and I'm looking forward to just, being a part of this group and how it's all going to work together in different organizations.
That's really exciting. Angela, did you want to share a little bit about that?
I do have a connection to a watershed organization called Poudre Creek Council, which is headquartered in Winters, which is kind of brought up the question for us: how small, how do these groups need to be a certain size, or are we going to look at smaller groups, because this is a small organization. I also was a member for a little while of a group called 100 Women Who Care in Yolo County, which was, we would come together once every quarter and vote on a local nonprofit within Yolo County. And then every woman would make a $100 donation. So it was a minimum of a $10,000 donation to the chosen organization. And so I don't have direct connections to those organizations, but I have knowledge about them and, would be happy to speak to their board of directors for recommendations about, organizations that could really benefit from coaching.
Wonderful. Right now, it's not like we've targeted a size of an organization. I think we first have to understand how many people within our chapter are willing to be involved. And that will probably determine the size of organization that we can support. If we're lucky, we'll have so many people involved that we can support more than one organization. And Kim, I was just wondering if you'd share with the group what we were talking about when we were in the breakout about what you're interested in doing.
Yeah, thank you, Tracy. So I put it in the chat since I wasn't in a breakout group, but my children go to a school in Tuolumne County in the Sierras. It's a Waldorf school. And Waldorf schools are private schools that require tuition, but this is a school that has something called Access to All, where any child in the community, which does have a fair amount of economic challenge, has access to the school. And it's a very integral school, which means children learn not only through reading and writing, but they create their own textbooks and they put on plays and puppet shows about whatever the topic may be, history or math concepts are learned integrally. The children stay with their teachers over a number of years. And right now they've just had a total board turnover after COVID because the school had to close down. They're open now and they're so blessed to have a school open where children can see each other and play. And now they've just had this complete leadership turnover. So I just wanted to put them into the mix because it's a great cause in my mind, and I have 2 kids there. So thank you, Tracy.
Yeah, that's exciting. I mean, the idea of education being done in such a creative way and teaching the whole child and all the learning styles is really exciting to me. Anything else that came up that we haven't talked about yet?
I can share for our group. I was in a group with Brian and Laurie, and we talked about things both locally and globally. Brian's in Southern California, so things were coming up for him on a more global scale. But what we talked a lot about was just the time that we're in right now. And what I know to be true is that there are a lot of public service organizations that are invested in doing equity studies right now. They are looking at their organization individually, but also in like the cities and just the spaces that they're in to uncover disparities that are being faced by marginalized groups, and really wanting to take accountability for improving equity amongst disadvantaged groups. And what we talked about is, I think what's going to happen is that they're going to get all of this data back from these studies, And the leaders, now that they have it in their face, are going to be, have to deal with it. And now what? Now what do we do with this information? And so we talked about the value of coaching after the information has been harvested, and what to do with the now what, and how to activate people and ignite the potential that's there, right? And when looking at the goals, when we think about like public service organizations, the goals are very aligned, right? Like poverty, fighting hunger, health and well-being, work and economic growth. Just there are so many different goals, and so we spent a lot of our time just talking about that. It sounds like several people have connections to UC Davis. I know that UC Davis does work with public service organizations. And I know currently I work for the city of Vallejo, but there is an organization called the League of Cities through, in California, and it just gives like information. And so that could potentially be a resource too, if we were interested in tapping into an organization that wants to expand on an equity study that's being done, or any change really that's being done as a result of the times that we're in.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Yes to all of that. Yes to everything that everyone has said so far. I think that, the collaboration is starting to like bear fruit of, hey, we have places to go. We have things we can do. We already know that we can get started, and we have a couple areas of those figured out. So I'm really excited. I feel like, we harnessed what we were looking for today from the group in terms of, letting you understand what it is and seeing, what possibilities exist for getting involved. And so I just want to go into next steps. Definitely invite you and all our chapter members to collaborate on an Ignite initiative, one or more together. And if you're interested in, seeing what tools are available to support us, and the research involved, and the social impact report, and everything that the foundation provides to support us through the Ignite initiative, you can go to this website, and I'll put this in the chat as well. And then watch for the announcement for our kickoff meeting in January. So we're probably thinking around the third week in January. And, it's going to be starting with brainstorming and investigation and moving forward. So in terms of time frame, Laurie, I don't know that we have a really strict project plan time frame at this point. I think January, our kickoff meeting, is really going to be where we have that conversation and start to kind of outline what we want this project to look like.
Yeah. Thank you, Tracy. Really, really well done. Let's give her a round of applause. Lovely. Really fantastic. And, we wanted to bring you all together to build the excitement. We are in the season of giving. We wanted to be able to capture your season of giving feeling so that we could move that into the next year and really think about how we could have an impact that creates opportunities for all. And so as you're thinking about this, I love the space in between, the in-between coaching. So as we leave you today and you're thinking about this and you're wondering where you fit in and how you can contribute and how you can serve, it just really think about what is best for you and what are best for some of the things that the people that you've been working with. I love hearing some of the ideas that have come up, and I think that together we can find the right place, or maybe it's multiple places, for us to be able to infuse coaching into to really make a difference. So in that in-between time, think about it, think how you'd like to be involved, think how you'd like to be contributing, and think about, where can we contribute? And then I'm going to ask that all of you in that in-between thinking, make a commitment to really build our communities into something that is bigger and better and beyond us. we're working towards leaving a legacy for the chapter and for not just the chapter and the members, but for other people outside of that. And there are also some things to consider though when it comes to what's in it for us, right? So as we walk away with how we can contribute to the bigger scope, there are also ways that we can help those coaches who are not credentialed, perhaps getting their hours in. The format is very strict about credentialed coaches coaching the upper echelons of the organizations, but maybe there's opportunities for that to flow deeper, where we could start to get, you know, some coaching hours for those who need credentialing or need hours of whether pro bono or paid for, you know, to up level their credential, whatever that looks like. So it really is we're trying to fulfill that space of coach more, coach better, coach connected. And the tools of Ignite will give you the opportunity to coach better. It'll give you the opportunity to coach more, and it'll give us the opportunity as a membership to really come together and connect in a different way. So I just really want to applaud Tracy again. Thank you so much for all your hard work and your exemplary leadership of just stepping up and stepping into this. And you're just so very much appreciated, as are all of you that showed up to the call today. So I just want to say that in the deepest gratitude.
And I'm grateful for these opportunities that we have together. I was wondering if, I know we're right at 1 o'clock, but if anyone is interested, I'd like to play a short 4-minute video. And if you need to go, that's fine. But it is an opportunity to hear from some of the coaches and some of the recipients from the Ignite project that was focused on education. So I'm going to go ahead and play that now. And then that will be the very last thing that we will be doing. Let's see. Okay, here we go.
They're really impacting not only the people who are going through the program, but when we look at when people are developing these skills, when they are able to run their own companies, or able to run their own projects, or have access to really jobs that allow them to earn a fair wage, then we're really looking at empowering people, giving them agency to make the choices that are right for them, that are right for their families. And then it has an impact on their families, and I believe for generations to come. When we have access to resources, people have choices around healthcare decisions, around education decisions. That has a trickle-down effect that really, I think, impacts everyone around it.
Have teachers. You touch teachers, their students, their families. So the impact is really, really very large.
We also got to contribute to global altruism, which is something the world really needs more of today. I'm sure you would agree with me.
One of the members of my committee, who is also a coach on one of the pro bono projects, said, you know, this makes me feel like I'm part of something bigger than myself. And because coaching can be a solitary profession where we sit on our telephone and we talk to people one-on-one, feeling that you are part of something bigger than yourself can be an important motivator.
You know, the one thing that was really nice about this program was the ability to collaborate with other coaches. I think we have so much to learn from each other. But the other thing that I really loved is being very aware of the impact that we're having on an organization. You know, we had to stop and take inventory and make sure we were delivering, you know, results and impact. And so often as coaches, we're in the business of running with our clients. We don't actually stop and assess, you know, what the overall impact is within the program.
I was really reconnected with my purpose, with my decision. Why am I a coach? Why did I choose this profession? And it made me really proud. I think pride is another word that I want to bring in. Proud in the sense of we are doing what we are here for to do, to change the world one conversation at a time.
Thank you a lot, and yes, let's do more in education.
So again, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Every individual participant from our end had the best experience and would often come back to me after and say, just like, my mind is blown. Like, I can't believe I was doing X or thinking Y. And so much of that is thanks to the time that you all put into this project. And I just want you to know that it really paid dividends. So on behalf of Business in the Streets, thank you, ICF, for making this program available.
All right, and with that, I think that we are done unless, Laurie, you have anything else you want to share with the group?
Just want to say completely grateful and thankful that all of you were here today. Have a wonderful holiday with your friends and family via Zoom.
Yeah.